Between the hills, the stars, the sky, the river so clear, river so clear. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of me, causes no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of me, causes no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
This one is called Immortality. It's by Richard Jeffries. It is eternity now. I am in the midst of it. It is about me in the sunshine. I am in it as the butterfly in the light-laden air. Nothing has to come. It is now. Now is eternity. Now is the immortal life. And then if you would join me in 5:30. This one is by Robert T. Weston. Out of the stars in their flight, out of the dust of eternity, here have we come, stardust and starlight mingling through time and through space. Time out of time before time in the vastness of space, Earth spun to orbit the sun, Earth with the thunder of mountains newborn, the boiling of seas.
Earth warmed by sun, lit by sunlight, this is our home, out of the stars have come.
Mystery hidden in mystery, back through all time, mystery rising from rocks in the storm and the sea.
Out of the stars, rising from rocks and the sea, kindled by sunlight on earth, arose life.
Ponder these things in your heart. Ponder with awe. Out of the sea to the land, out of the shallows came ferns.
Out of the sea to the land, up from darkness to light, rising to walk and to fly. Out of the sea trembled life.
Ponder this thing in your heart. Life up from sea. Eyes to behold, throats to sing, mates to love.
Life from the sea, warmed by sun, washed by rain. Life from within, giving birth, rose to love.
This is the wonder of time. This is the marvel of space. Out of the stars swung the earth. Life upon earth rose to love.
This is the marvel of life, rising to see and to know. Out of your heart, cry wonder, sing that they live.
The chalice lighting words from Leslie Pole Cabau. Flame of fire, spark of a universe that warmed our ancestral hearth, agent of life and death, symbol of truth and freedom, we strive to understand ourselves and our earthly home. Janell Cole, been a member of this congregation, I don't even know how long, but very long, in 1988, so you can do the maths. She's often gone because she works for FEMA and has dedicated her life to helping others in that regard. As she said, she married, and I did meet her lovely wife, and she was very proud of this service, Janell told me, so that is really, really cool. So please welcome Janell.
What you're seeing is a slideshow of inspirational cartoons and memes and so forth that serve as an inspiration for my talk. And we don't have to peg certain images to certain parts of the talk, except for one of them. When you see a photo of the Stephen Colbert show, that's how we're going to start here. So anyway, yeah, I've been attending this congregation since 1985, and I joined in 1988. I'm a former board member and former president. So just a little more information for anybody out there. So anyway, this is a talk that has been percolating in my heart and my brain for probably a decade, certainly a number of years. But earlier this year, Brian Cox, an English physicist, displayed a wall-sized photo of space on Stephen Colbert's Late Show. There he is. The photo taken by the James Webb Space Telescope shows thousands of glowing specks. And he said, holding his thumb and finger like this, he said that image represents only a tiny section of our sky, smaller than the space that we see when we look at the full moon. So, of those specks, he says, almost everything in that photograph is a galaxy. There are something like 10,000 galaxies in that single image. And he adds that in addition to the sheer number of galaxies, there are, of course, many other mysteries of the universe. There's also the remarkable fact, he says, that collections of atoms, such as us, exist. His conclusion about that starry image that he showed on TV tapped into just what I was thinking when he said, it's a humbling and beautiful and terrifying, actually, image. Wait, did he say terrifying? Yes, terrifying to me, at least, in the sense that we humans here on Earth are barely capable of comprehending our minuscule existence and how we came to evolve into sentient beings in the grand scheme of the universe. That is, I speak of the mystery and seeming insignificance of our personal world, our Earth, our lives, our physical beings, our very souls, and how we came to be in the context of the vast, ineffable universe. There are lots of things about the universe that I find almost impossible to imagine, Cox says. And yet he has boiled it down beautifully to its essence when he says, there is only one interesting question in philosophy. What does it mean to live a finite, fragile life in an infinite, eternal universe? Yes, when we find ourselves faced with the fact that even the most tiny section of our sky contains thousands of galaxies, and altogether it holds an estimate in the trillions, that means our universe's physical expanse goes on and on into infinity and is not limited to the Milky Way as was once believed. Is there an end or no end? While the Big Bang theory of the beginning of the universe has reached conventional wisdom status, Cox has also spoken about an alternative theory, that the Big Bang was not the beginning of the universe, but just another event in a universe that has always existed and had no beginning and has no end. Without getting into the unserious mythology and pop culture nuttiness about space aliens and visitors from other planets, it does mean that even with our ever-increasing sophisticated astrophysicist technology, we modern humans can't know whether our world is unique in holding intelligent life. Nor can we fully grasp the awesome questions and mysteries of how our world and our very lives came to be. And now let's leave the big, wide, ineffably large universe for the time being and get back to our beautiful little blue marble of a planet and what religious beliefs put forth. My path in Unitarian Universalism has been rooted not just in the rejection of traditional Christianity, but in an ever-increasing appreciation for our planet's endless supply of awesome creatures, their evolutions, the geology and natural occurrences in nature, that is, creation itself, as well as appreciation for the wonders of what many would call the heavens. This is something addressed in Christian hymns, of course. Morning Has Broken celebrates the creation of our world, as does the opening verse of How Great Thou Art, which goes, O Lord, my God, when I, in awesome wonder, consider all the worlds thy hands have made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. It's very hard for me to not sing that. In my personal theology, the universe is indeed awe-inspiring. And these days, the more astrophysicists and astronomers study and photograph it, the more awesome and humbling it is. But here's where I pivot. To ascribe this inexplicable, mysterious universe and its awesomeness to a supreme being, an all-powerful creator, a supposedly benevolent, monotheistic God, whose existence was actually birthed by a Middle Eastern tribe a mere several thousand years ago. This is an intellectual cop-out and an illogical premise. As one renowned atheist, Richard Dawkins, puts it, it is no more easy to explain the origin of a creator than it is to explain the origin of the complexity of life itself. Or, as my favorite anti-theist, that's what he called himself as opposed to atheist, my favorite anti-theist, the late great Christopher Hitchens, puts forth, if one argues that our world and the universe must have had a supreme designer, then who or what created this creator? And then who or what created that creator? And it becomes an endless regression. This endless regression doesn't get us anywhere, he says, and it certainly doesn't get us to religion. Hitchens saw all religions as false, harmful, and authoritarian. In debates, he often uses the word wicked in describing their beliefs, practices, and hierarchy. All gods over the ages have been discredited as fraudulent and man-made, Hitchens argues. And even if they hadn't been so discredited, he says, our moral dilemmas would be exactly the same as the ones we face now. All of us, atheists, agnostic, philosophical, Socratic, or true believer, we would still have to wonder about the purpose of our existence here. We would still have to wonder about our origins, how to reflect on truth and on beauty. All of these dilemmas would remain exactly the way they are, unaltered by any supernatural dimension. Others agree that simple logic destroys the concept of a credible religion and a godlike creator. The fallacy of man-made religions and their man-made stories having any credible claim to an explanation about creation is perfectly put forth by this post found at the Reasoned Reality Project. Like Hitchens, they point out that our contemporary religions are recent inventions. They wrote, if the entire history of life on Earth were condensed into a 24-hour day, religion would appear in the final 5/100ths of a second before midnight. This means religion is a mere blink in the timeline of life, raising a profound question. How can such a brief moment claim to hold universal truth over billions of years of existence? I couldn't agree more. I personally believe that crediting our awesome universe to a supreme being is actually insulting to the big wide universe and the wonderfulness of how its ethereal forces, sheer spontaneity, and powerful random physics brought forth us humans, this world, and all creation, and then continues into eternity. So how can we maintain our essential humility as mere specks in this universe if we humans then create a phenomenon of supreme being, a master designer, an all-knowing, all-powerful God? I mean, how dare we? The universe is its own argument for atheism. Now, I mean no disrespect to spiritual beliefs and arguing for the rational concept of atheism. The universe was created and is maintained by awesome forces beyond our knowledge and imaginations, and this is in itself intensely spiritual. Our congregation from time to time has its members speak on This I Believe, presenting their personal views of their unique theological paths. And here briefly is my version, which some of you have heard before. I had a spiritual experience in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in 1983 that has led to my 42 plus years of sobriety. Now, in the traditional AA steps, we were asked to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. That is, a higher power. And in most people's eyes, this higher power is by default God. In my recovery, this higher power has never had a name, and I don't seek to name it. It's whatever unknown force happened to enter my psyche that night and suddenly and permanently removed my urge to self-medicate with alcohol. I continue to label that event as a spiritual experience caused by an unknown, unnameable source. I've also spoken here before about how a John Denver song, Sweet Surrender, gives voice to my sobriety and spiritual life. There's a spirit that guides me, a light that shines for me. My life is worth the living. I don't need to see the end. My passive acceptance of and respect for life's mysteries matches the best description I've read of my type of spirituality, and it comes from everyone's favorite astrophysicist, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who describes himself personally as agnostic. In a 2006 interview, he said, "When I say spiritual, I'm referring to a feeling you would have that connects you to the universe in a way that it may simply defy vocabulary." We think about the universe as an intellectual playground, which it surely is, but the moment you learn something that touches an emotion rather than just something intellectual, I would call that a spiritual encounter with the universe. Bingo. That's it. It is absolutely a spiritual experience to contemplate the unknowable nature of the universe, ponder the awesome mysteries it presents, and reflect humbly on our insignificance in the grand whole. And we can certainly do this without the crutch of religion. So I will keep pondering and wondering and finding intense spirituality in the mystery, without the need to understand its awesomeness. After all, as Neil deGrasse Tyson also says, the universe is under no obligation to make sense to you.
I don't know that I have a question, but because I'm a Unitarian. When you were talking, one of the things I thought about a lot is that the reason that people create these stories is because they're so afraid, they're so scared of what they don't know, of the unknown. And I was just, all of the patriarchal horrors that we're living through right now and all the ways people lock down these narratives and these stories so that their fears and their insignificance and their insecurities won't exist because they're repressed. And it made me feel, this isn't quite the right word, superior. It made me feel good because that idea that you're talking about of the mystery, and it's none of my, who am I to know the mystery and to be able to, but that it exists, I find so invigorating and so beautiful to know this mystery, this unknown, that we're just a part of it, and how lucky that my atoms coalesce now to live the life I'm living. Like, what the hell? It's just incredible, and it's such a miracle to me. And I don't find that scary. I find that comforting because I have no control over it, and so I don't even get to try to have control. I can just enjoy it. And you know, I'm a middle-aged person, so I've gotten there, but I just think these people are so afraid. They're missing so much, and that's sad.
One of the things I kept running across when I was seeing more and more inspiration for this talk was that we atheists believe that religion asks people to quit thinking.
Well, I have much to say, but I shall keep it short. Born and raised Niobe, North Dakota, population 32, so we had a big sky, and it was, you know, very dark there. So I've been studying the stars all my life. Back in the days when I would beg my mother, please, can I have a star chart? You know, it'd be one of those little paper things where you turn it, you know. And now, of course, I just have an app, right? And I go, oh, yeah, that's Jupiter. Yeah. But my point is, also born and raised into a Baptist household, and very early thought, well, this is a bunch of crap. But my point is, so when I was about like 8 or 10 years old, I'm not really sure how old, I was sitting out on the cellar door, right, you know, at our place, and something happened. I don't know what it was. It wasn't a religious experience, or maybe it was, but I was just looking out, you know, it wasn't at night, and I was just looking out at the world, and it was like suddenly everything started to disintegrate, you know, and it was like everything started shaking, and there was just like little points, like an early Seurat painting or something, and didn't know about that, but and I got freaked out. I was like, what the hell's happening, right? And so I went in the house, and I said to my mother, Mom, and she saw that I was like weirded out. And I said, Mom, I said, the world is disappearing and it's going on forever at the same time. I know. And my mother looked at me and she went, go wash your face and lay down.
Your definition of what atheism is it a disbelief in God, a creator, a religion, a spirituality? What is atheism to you? Your working definition.
Where I come from is that it's an intensely spiritual experience to just have an abiding sense of mystery. And if I've often thought, if there is a God, it's just whatever all of these mysterious forces that spontaneously created what we now know as our world and our universe. It's like whatever forces have ended up creating us and our world and our universe, that's God. It's not a supreme being out there that has consciousness or whatever.
Your working definition of atheism would be pro-mystery, pro-something, not anti-something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Atheism has a bad connotation, I think, the word.
The root of it is, how dare we invent a God and a religion that explains this when the universe is its own argument for atheism? Because it's just so marvelous. And, you know, we Christopher Hitchens is also very much into, and other atheists are very much into, how can there be this God that is both benevolent and loving, and yet we've assigned people to hell for something or another, and we have war and famine and prejudice and all kinds of terrible things happening, and this comes from a benevolent, loving God is just really it doesn't make any sense, and so that's also at the root of where I come from.
This is called As Breath to Song by Becky Laurent. It rhymes. As flame is to spirit, so spirit is to breath, and breath to song. Though we extinguish the flame in this sanctuary, may we tend it in our hearts until we meet again.